showcase a very popular type of handmade Persian rug. These are known as the Nain rugs. And I'm going to use these two rugs to showcase a variation of a very popular design, this geometric. This is known as a Gonbad design, dome design. It was inspired by Middle Eastern architecture that I have featured. I've talked about this design in several of my videos. I have also showcased the Nain rugs. Some of the important tips that buyers and owners need to know about when it comes to the Nain rugs, about the quality, about the signature, that is oftentimes, it's not the genuine signatures of the weavers. Like in the square piece with this Gonbad piece, it has the Habibian signature there, even though the Habibian family has absolutely nothing to do with the actual rug itself. And I featured a lot of the details and history about the Nain rugs. But the Nain rugs have one unique feature, and that has to do with not just the Nain rugs, but also the region where they're made. And this is something I'm going to showcase in this video. And that is a very unique variation of the Gonbad design that is known as the Schish Toranj design that you see not only in this picture, but in this very Nain rug that you see right here. And that is a design that combines traditional Persian workmanship designs with the Gonbad design. 6 Toranj. Toranj means circle. You'll notice it has 6 circular medallions, and each one of the medallions features the traditional Gonbad design. It's a kind of a mix between traditional Persian rugs and the Gonbad design. It's a very popular, very hard to find design. And this Nain rug right here it's one of only a few that I've had over the years. It's extremely popular with my clients. The biggest challenge that I have, and being that even though my family's in the wholesale business, this is not something that we can readily find. And when we do find them, due to the intricate workmanship and generally speaking, due to the quality of the rugs where this type of design is featured, they tend to be much more expensive than similar rugs because they tend to have a higher quality and a very detailed, unique design. And whenever you have those two things, you generally have an uptick in the price. The same thing, for example, as I oftentimes talk about, weaving a Gonbad rug is a lot more difficult than weaving a traditional rug. It is also one of the reasons why, for example, Gonbad pieces tend to be a bit more expensive than traditional rugs, you know, with the medallions, or we have the Mahi design, for example, and some of the other designs. So, but in this video, like I said, I wanted to feature this beautiful 6 Toranj design and showcase it to you and give you a little bit of information about it. It is such a remarkable piece, and it's kind of unique to the Nain rugs and to the, sometimes you'll find them in the Isfahan rugs. But what is also unique about this design, and again, because of its size, I'm gonna get behind the camera in a little bit, and I'm gonna actually showcase the rug and show you some of the details and everything. But because of its size and it's hanging up, you can only see right now about 2/3 of it. And so I'm gonna be utilizing the picture of the rug as well. But basically with the Nain rugs, as for those of you that are familiar with these types of rugs, These are made not too far from the city of Isfahan in central Iran. Nain has a weaving culture that really started to flourish in the 1950s. And they are also, because of their close proximity to the much bigger rug workshops in Isfahan, Nain was kind of like the smaller brother of the two. And so there's a very close connection, and you will oftentimes see Nain rugs featuring colors and designs that interlap with the Isfahan rugs. And this is why you will sometimes see this pattern, although it's extremely rare. I can tell you in my last 20, 30 years, I have featured, I think, 1 or 2 Tabriz rugs and Gom rugs that had this design. And I think only a handful of Isfahan. The vast majority of them have always been Nain. And for some reason, this design is only woven. All the ones that I've had, Nain, were always 2 meters by 3 meters, roughly 7 feet by 10 feet, like in this piece right here. They were always made in that size, even though different workshops. And in this case, we have that very deep red, almost like a burgundy color, which is great in bringing out the whole design and everything else that goes with it. It's just absolutely beautiful. And but this design, this Toranj design, is only featured in this one size. Now, I've had folks who have told me that, yes, we can custom make them to different sizes and everything. But bottom line is, when you talk about having to custom make something in another country, there is a lot of, you have to have a lot of faith, and you have to be a real, well, you got to be a real optimist. It's not something I recommend. It can be done, but it's something I really, I caution against. But basically what you have here is, these are typically also the shish-la quality. Shish-la, just to give you an example, I'm standing on the rug right here. The Gonbad piece right here, the square one, is a standard shish-la. You can see by the picture it has about 500 knots per square inch. Well, the Toranj that I'm standing on, let me step aside real quick, you will notice it has about 600. And they're both shish-la. Shish-la meaning, if you were to take a fringe and if you were to take it apart, you would have 2 inner twines. You would have 2 twines. Each twine is made up of 3 yarn. So there is a total of 6 yarns in one fringe. That is what is known as a shish-la. But unlike a lot of other types of Persian rugs, the Nains are the only ones where they talk about what is known as la, which is the number of fringes, the number of threads. And so you can have the same shish-la quality like you have in the case of the Toranj as you have in the Gonbad, and you have one that has 500 knots per square inch, you have another one that has 600 knots per square inch. And this is also something that I talk about in some of my other videos when it comes to the Nain rugs. This is also why, for example, the square foot price of the Toranj is going to be, or square meter price, can easily be 30% more than the Gonbad, than the square Gonbad piece. And that is simply because it is much more difficult to literally weave 600 knots per square inch than it is 500. You're talking a difference not just in terms of quality, but the workmanship, the experience, everything that goes into it. This piece is finer than this, but they are both shish-la pieces. And so I wanted to showcase you guys this. The Nain rugs are very popular with my clients and have been around the world. A lot of people like them because they're not as colorful as the Tabriz rugs, for example, or the Gom rugs. And like I said, I just thought I'd just showcase the Toranj, and as I always do, I'm going to get behind the camera now. I'm going to feature some of the details and everything. And also, as you all know, as I've done in all my videos, if you like our channel, obviously feel free to subscribe. I try to do 1 or 2 videos a week about all kinds of carpets. But also, as I always do in my videos, I always tell my folks, I try to make this an interactive, fun channel. So if you own a rug and you have some questions about it, if you just want some general answers, feel free in the description below. There is also the links, not just to the rugs and everything, and you can get the details in our website at mprugs.com. But more importantly, there is the link to my video where I talk about the type of simple pictures that I would need in order for me to quickly look at the pictures, look at the rug that you may have, and give you the information that you need. I don't do appraisals, and I get a lot of people asking me what I think the rug may be worth. That is not something that I do. But as far as me being able to help you identifying a rug or something, I have absolutely no problems. I got a lot of folks asking me questions, and it's something that love to do. So with that out of the way, I'm now going to go back, get behind the camera. I'm going to feature some of the beautiful features in this just basically over-the-top Nain rug that was inspired again by the Gonbad piece. And then I'm going to come back later and say my goodbyes. So I'm going to see you again here in just a second. So here I am from behind the camera, and I step back with the camera so that you can get a full view of this beautiful Nain, the Toranj. Again, this is known as a Schish Toranj. It has 6 circles with the 2 almost like medallions in the center, but it is known as a Toranj design. It's absolutely beautiful piece, and you can see as I approach the center, if you compare the Gonbad design, the circular design right there, and here is a classic. In fact, let me just move this rug right here out of the way. You can see the Gonbad design, and you can see when you compare, this is a classic square Gonbad, and just absolutely beautiful piece that pretty much speaks for itself. But then if you compare it to the Toranj, you can see the similarities in the design. And like I said, you have classic Gonbad versus Toranj. And also I talked about the quality on these types of the Toranj Nain rugs. For the most part, all the ones that we have offered in the past, they all have this extremely fine, not a shish-la quality, but it's a quality that is superior. It's finer than the traditional shish-la pieces. Now in both cases, you can see the silk shining back at you, even in this video here. And I'm trying to keep the exposure down. I don't want to make it lighter than it is. But in the Gonbad piece, it's typical that you have the silk right here that is used in borders. And sometimes you also have a little bit in the flowers. That is what traditional shish-la, this is what you would typically get in a fine shish-la. But as you can see in this piece right here, the amount of silk is much greater and it's finer. And this is what the difference, I've had people asking me, well, I'm looking at shish-la pieces. Why is one more expensive than the other? Well, here is a perfect example. You have the quality of the silk is much finer in the Toranj than it is in the Gonbad. And it is not because of the design or anything. It's just workmanship. This is no different, for example, when you look at these rugs, it's like comparing 2 Rolexes, for example. You can have one that I don't know, a Submariner versus a Datejust, and I'm just pulling up names here. I'm not a huge watch collector by any means, but you can have two very similar. In this case, you have Nain rugs. You can also have them, for example, in watches, and you have a huge price difference. But this is where you pay the difference. It's the workmanship. You have regular shish-la versus superior shish-la. And so that is what this, like I said, it's a beautiful piece. The quality speaks for itself. And what I've also found is the ones that we have had either always had a navy blue background or this burgundy, this very deep red. And even though it may not look like it would look, most of my clients have told me that when they bought the rugs, because of the design, they wanted to have it. They're collectors, they're passionate about Persian rugs, but they were actually surprised by how well these types of rugs go with just about any furniture, whether it's black, white, whether it is even leather. They said, Mike, the rugs are so beautiful that it's like they're pieces of art. And so I've never been one to, I don't like to brag about rugs or anything, but this is beautiful Persian workmanship at its best. The Nain rugs are made with Persian knots instead of the Turkish knots. And this is why also you can get that type of a fine weave and everything. If it was a Tabriz rug, the price would be 2 to 3 times as much. And it would be like a 70 rug, Tabriz rug. So the Nain rugs, really nice pieces. So I thought I'd show you these close-ups. I'm gonna come back now to you guys and say my quick goodbyes. There's our video about the Toranj, the Schish Toranj Nain rug. Like I said, a lot of influence by the Gonbad design. I hope you enjoyed this video. This is a beautiful rug, that, at least in my opinion. And since they are so rare, I thought it would just be a perfect opportunity to showcase this piece to you. Hope you enjoyed the video. As I mentioned earlier, feel free to hit the subscribe button if you like to be updated about the new videos that we put on our channel. Also, if you like our video, I thank you for it. I appreciate all the support and all the feedback that I have been getting from my viewers. And until I see you guys with the next video, I'll wish you and your family the very best. And yeah, I'll be coming back to you soon with more videos. So take care. See you again soon. Bye-bye.